Okay, today is July 9th, 2015, and we're looking at the water vapor loop. There's not a whole lot going on weather-wise in Southern California other than looking at the remnants of this low pressure that moved through today. There was no rain to speak of. We did have some drizzle overnight and the cars were wet. The ground was slightly damp. Nothing to even talk about as far as any kind of rain, useful rain. But as this low passes over California, we see a lot of new thunderstorm activity starting to brew as it goes over the mountain states and moves to the east. The other thing is this flow here that is coming in from the northern latitudes out of the sort of like out of the Bering Sea area down this way. An electronic wall is being installed here. There's some microwave, highly directional microwave transmitters that are setting up an electronic wall here, and over here we have a lot of ionospheric heating on this low pressure here that just passed through California. We can see that here, and that's throttling this system and not allowing it to spin out of control. Now, looking back here, what's happening here is that this is being installed to separate this moisture flow from feeding into this system here. And we see this very often. We'll see this thing form into a long dark area, which is very dry air, and that sort of forms a blockade. And much like we've seen here most of the season, here we see an anomaly here. We have a high pressure here that's spinning. This has been put in place here. But basically this weather down here has been separated from all the weather up here for most of the last 4 months. Now the other thing is that we have a disturbance here and then one way over here by the Central American countries. Let's look at the National Hurricane Center website. We see two disturbances. One here that has a 40% chance of hurricane formation in 2 days. The other one has a 20% chance in 2 days. Okay, so those are there. And now the last 2 nights, the weather reports in Los Angeles are still talking about that forming hurricane that was destroyed. And if you look at the video I made about 2 or 3 nights ago, we documented that. We could see the flashes in the middle of that very powerful spinning system, and that system was destroyed, and we can see that the leftovers of that are right here. Okay, now that was destroyed, and they are still talking on television the last 2 nights about some post-tropical depression. Well, after that system was destroyed 2 days ago, there wasn't much left. It was just a lot of scattered thunderstorms like you see over here. There was no organization whatsoever, and the fact that there was a lot of flashes in the middle of that core was strange. It was like a laser beam was being focused on that area. Very strange. Hadn't seen that before. So let's go ahead and look at the this is the infrared loop. Shows the intensity of this developing disturbance here. Okay, and let's just flip through here. We've got the water vapor loop for the East Pacific. We see this. This is one of the disturbances. The other one's over here. Let's just go to the. This is the infrared loop for that area. I got a high pressure here. We see some clockwise movement developing. Now this is what I was really focusing on here. This is the East Pacific water vapor loop, and we can see some high pressure downburst occurring right here. Where that dry air is, there's that's being attacked by a transmitter right there. We see some counterclockwise movement in this disturbance, and this is going to be the This will be the core, the eye of any hurricane that develops from this disturbance, and they're already hitting it with the hot air. Now, if we go back and look at the water vapor loop for the East Pacific, we see that this caught my eye. This looks like the remnants of a downburst, the leftovers of a downburst previous to these frames being made. All of this, it looks like sort of like steam. It's just sort of like a bunch of water vapor that was blown out of the side of one of these thunderstorms. So let's now go back and look again at what's happening here. This is that disturbance right off of the coast. This is the first disturbance. That's this one right here. Okay, so let's go back here and look at that. That's being hit with the transmitter right in here. And what that's doing is that's heating this, and this is preventing the system from organizing. So that's what that's doing. You see a dark area here. I don't see any pressure rings. I even got the we've got the visible light mode here. I just don't see any evidence of, well, I don't see any rings, okay, but we do see the heat being applied because the dry air is indicated in this shot by the blue, and here we see the dark area here, which indicates very dry air right here. Okay, so that's basically it. Making a lot out of not a whole lot, but we'll keep an eye on these two disturbances, and you know, we'll do another one tomorrow. But basically, again, we're seeing a divider being formed here, which will keep this flow out of this spinning low pressure that's moving to the east. Very common to see that little blockade there. Okay, that's it. We'll do another one tomorrow.